David Jochynek versus David Stevens.
Hi everybody, this is Dave Stevens with New Way Restoration and Cleaning. Thank you for tuning in again for another episode of Hot Talks, where we have hot questions, but even hotter snacks. I'm here this morning with...
I'm David Jochynek from State Farm.
Thank you for coming in this morning. I appreciate you, sir.
Yep.
So, for those of you who are watching who don't know how the game is played, David and I will be going head to head. I'll be asking some hot questions, and if he can't handle the heat, then he'll be eating some of these hot snacks. If he can answer all of them successfully without backing down, then I'll be the recipient of...
You'll need heartburn medicine.
These wonderful hot chips, heartburn medicine. Did you bring any by chance?
It's in my truck. Yeah.
Praise God. All right. Let's get into it. David, good morning. Again, thank you for coming. The first category is going to be restoration knowledge and standards. How familiar do you feel most agents are with IICRC standards and best practices?
I would say most just have a baseline knowledge of that. It's not really in our scope. It's not something that we deal with on a daily basis like you guys do. So I would say baseline.
Okay. Have you ever followed a mitigation project from start to finish, and did it change your perspective on the process?
I've followed a few. Most of the time we're not really that involved unless there's some sort of problem. But it did give me a better idea of the process and the flow, how you guys do things, what the order of things are. So, yeah, it definitely helps.
We're going to go into a different category here. Coverage and policyholder understanding. Why do you think policyholders often have an unclear expectation about what their policy actually covers?
I think it goes back to making sure that we're communicating what exactly the policy does and does not do from the very beginning. And then problems usually arise in that it might be 20 years before they use that policy and they've never looked at it or talked about it since that initial conversation.
Sure.
So again, that's just, it's so important to do an annual review, just
Gotcha.
to make sure.
How do you ensure your clients fully understand common exclusions or limitations before a loss occurs?
Again, I think it goes back to the very beginning, setting clear expectations of this is what it will and won't do. That's our responsibility is to tell you what you're paying for and then reviewing it to make sure that nothing's changed.
Gotcha. Preferred vendors and recommendations. How do you decide which restoration vendors to recommend, and how do you evaluate the performance?
Our rule is to always recommend 3, no matter what the vendor is doing.
Now, is that a State Farm policy, or is that a David Jochynek office?
I must say that's both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we always recommend 3.
Okay. What would make you reconsider a preferred vendor if their work consistently falls short?
I would say the biggest thing in my mind is just the transparency piece. Making sure that what the customer knows what they're paying for,
Yeah.
and they're not getting ripped off.
Exactly.
Just simple as that.
What do some good characteristics of a preferred vendor look like?
Reliability is a big piece. You know, if they say they're going to call on Friday afternoon, they call on Friday afternoon.
Be absolutely transparent, show up on time.
Yeah.
All of those best practices that you should look for in any kind of a vendor or restoration company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Adjuster decisions and scope challenges. How often do you encounter disagreements between contractors and adjusters regarding proper mitigation steps?
It doesn't really happen that often, and I would say 99% of the time it's just miscommunication.
Gotcha.
Somebody's not on the same page.
When a contractor follows IICRC standards but the adjuster questions the scope, How do you help bridge the gap?
Again, I think it's communication issue. So most of the time, if there's some sort of disagreement or whatever you want to call it, I like to just sit everybody down together, either on a conference call, preferably in person.
Have a good old fashioned sit down, come to Jesus meeting.
Just hash it out.
Everybody get on the same page.
Get on the same page. Yeah, most of the time that's all it is.
I like it. That's old school. Claim timelines and delays. Do you feel communication gaps between carriers and policyholders can sometimes be mistaken for contractor delays?
Absolutely, yeah. I think a lot of things can be mistaken for contractor delays. And again, it just goes back to communication. Just that is almost always the first thing that breaks down and causes delays. It's not normally that, you're not wanting to do what you're supposed to do, or we're not. It's usually just communication. Somebody thought this was supposed to happen on Tuesday. It was really supposed to happen on Wednesday. Now they're upset, and it's communication.
Right.
Like beating a dead horse, but yeah.
I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Advocating for the policyholder. In situations where there's a dispute over coverage or scope, how involved do you typically get in advocating for your client?
I mean, I think that is a huge part of our role, is to advocate for our client.
Sure.
I mean, that's our responsibility, is to make sure that they have a full understanding and that we're going to bat for them.
Right. Gotcha. Hold up. Wait a minute. We'll be right back after this brief message from our official sponsors. With more than 50,000 interactions across CNR platforms each month, 16,000 unique website visits, and a highly engaged email list boasting a 32% open rate, CNR is more than a publication. It's a community of innovators shaping the future of restoration. Whether you're looking for the latest techniques, business strategies, or thought leadership, CNR is your go-to resource for actionable insights and powerful industry connections. Subscribe free today at cnrmagazine.com and join thousands of professionals who interact, learn, and restore with CNR. CNR Magazine. Interact, learn, restore. Did you know 85% of financial success comes from soft skills abilities and only 15% from technical abilities? SuperTech U was created by long-term restoration pros Eric Sprague and Larry Wilburton. Their 3 to 5 minute videos train your entire company on the soft skills they need to make your business thrive. Plus, your entire team earns IICRC CEC credits, all for about the cost of one tank of gas. To get more information about SuperTech University and receive a special 6-lesson e-course on in-home sales, go to supertechu.com/podcast offer. Again, get your free in-home sales training at supertechu.com/podcast offer. Do you find that policyholders expect you to play a stronger role during stressful or confusing claims?
Yeah, absolutely. Claims can be extremely stressful, especially if you're displaced from your home and this has never happened to you before.
The tree fell on the house.
Yeah, what am I gonna do? It's a
Help.
scary time. It's scary.
My ex-wife drove her brand new pickup truck right through the front window. Oh, it's not?
I'm just kidding.
You're telling me that's not an act of God.
I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's a super stressful time. They've never been through it before. And I think a lot of times it's just the unknown that stresses them out. They're not sure exactly how this is going to work out. How am I going to be made whole again? How long is it going to take? What am I going to do until I get back in my house?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of unknowns, and yeah, I think it's our responsibility to help as much as we can in those situations.
I think that would probably be one of the most stressful times. Like, I thankfully, thank God, I've never had to, no kidding, be displaced from my home due to a disaster, but I've seen and heard some stories since I've worked here.
Right.
People, we had I think our first guest on was Miss Sarah Cockerham, and she talked about how her mother lived in the lower portion of their house and it just got so destroyed. Yeah. It was horrible. But again, what you're saying, communication is key.
Yeah.
So, her having the people there to say, hey, it's okay.
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen.
Yep.
This is how we're going to help fix it.
Yep.
And then go in and get the job done.
Setting the expectation.
Right.
So they know it's an unknown. That's what's scary to most people. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What are some ways you feel agents can better support clients during the mitigation process?
Again, communication. Just making sure that everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
Making sure that all of their questions are answered in a timely fashion, and making sure that they understand the answers to those questions.
Man, this is the last category, transparency and ethics, and
You're really wanting those chips. Huh?
I don't want hot chips at 9 o'clock in the morning or whatever. Look, see, it's not time to eat hot chips.
9:45.
Yeah, it's not a great time to eat hot chips.
Yikes.
But it looks like I'm headed that way. All right, so transparency and ethics. What steps do you take to ensure clients understand their policy limitations before they ever need to file a claim?
Setting the expectation from the very beginning. This is what you're paying for. This is what it covers. This is what it does not cover. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I've accepted my fate. Why do you think many homeowners are surprised by mold caps, water backup limits, or code upgrade exclusions? Come on, Dave.
Yeah, it goes back to the initial conversation and then the annual reviews. So you have to know what you're paying for.
Right.
So what does this policy cover? What does it not cover? The backup of sewer and drain, it's something that we quoted on essentially every homeowner's policy.
Yeah.
You're not required to have it, but we put it on there and we pointed out, hey, this is going to be an extra $150 a year. So I think some of it is, it's our responsibility to make sure they know what's covered and what's not covered.
Yeah.
Mold, not covered 99% of the time. It's just like I use the example of rust on the bumper of your car. Your bumper gets old and rusty, we're not going to file a claim and replace it. It's just not how it works. Now, if you hit a deer and it messed up that rusty bumper, yeah, we're going to replace that. And mold kind of works the same way. It's things that happen over years and years and build up. That's not what your insurance is for. Your insurance is for sudden losses.
You're not making me feel better about eating these hot chips, because that was such an eloquent answer. I mean, thanks for that. All right, last question. When a denial or partial denial occurs, what support do you offer the policyholder to help them navigate their options?
I mean, it's our responsibility to advocate for them and make sure that they know what's covered, like I said, but more importantly, it's a communication issue. 99% of the time, the denial is not really a denial. It's just a lack of proof, a lack of evidence. The adjuster needs another estimate.
Yeah.
Or they need a new photo or whatever the case is. But most of the time, it goes back to those, let's just sit down and we'll figure it out.
Right. Well, John and Rem, if you would do me the honors of putting up the blue sky with the pigeons. You know what I'm talking about. R.I.P. Dave's lips, mouth, and everything else, because hot chips is in my future. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in every week. We really appreciate you guys watching. If you like the videos that we're doing, like this, Hot Talks, like and subscribe down below. Dave, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you, sir. Any final thoughts?
Thanks for having me on, and come visit us. We're right up there next to Schweitzer's Barbecue, so quotes are always free. Come in and say hello.
Quotes are free, barbecue's not.
No, but you can get lunch while you're there.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, buddy. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Deuces.